Hello, creative friends, and welcome to the Stampin' Squad. My name is Cheryl Dorsey. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today is Monday, April, hmm, April 14th. I had to think about that for a minute. April 14th, 2025. And I want to welcome you to my live stream today. If you didn't know it, I'm here every Monday at 4 o'clock Pacific time to share a tutorial with you. And today we are going to make a really cute little mini treat basket. Actually, we're going to make a couple of them. Why not, right? Why not make a couple? So, welcome to all of you. I see you starting to pop in. Glad that you're here today. And every week I say I'm excited, but it's true. I am excited every single time I see you, and today is no exception. So, as I said, we're going to make a little mini treat basket that is oh so cute and really easy. So I like that combination, cute and easy. Today I just moved the purple piece out of the way, but today I'm going to be using the beautiful bokeh 6x6 paper. And that is in the current mini catalog. And I'm also going to be using a variety of other things. So I think I will just talk about those as they come up, as we go along, instead of trying to bombard you with everything here at the very beginning. So if you're watching live with me today, pop into the comments, into the chat, and tell me you're here and tell me where you're watching from so I can say hello back to you. I'm going to pull out my trimmer because we are going to trim this 6x6 piece of paper. We need to trim it down a little bit. I want it to be 5 inches by 5 inches. So let's do that first. And that piece is going to go back in the paper pack. I'll use that for something else. And then turn a quarter of a turn and 5 inches this direction. So I'm just going to set this aside for a minute. And this little piece that is 1 inch wide and it is 5 inches long. I'm going to take it and put it right here and just cut it in half right down the middle. There we go. This is Daffodil Delight. That's the color, in case you were wondering. So one piece I'm going to use today, and the other piece is going to go back in the paper pack for another day. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way. And we are going to score. Let me get my scoreboard up here. I think you're going to love how easy this is. So we are going to put this up here. I think you can see that. Yes. And we're going to score on all sides at 1.5 inches. So I will do that. 1.5, quarter turn, 1.5, quarter turn, 1.5, and one more turn, 1.5. All right, I'm going to move this out of the way for just a minute. It will come back. And let me get my bone folder. I'm just going to fold and crease these score lines so everything will come together nicely when it's time to assemble our little basket. All right, there we are. Now we need some paper snips. So I'm going to cut along this score line up to this one and here. All right, so we're going to make two cuts. Just going to cut straight up to that score line. and this one. And then I'm going to go to the opposite side and do the same thing. So how are you all doing today? How is your Monday starting your week? Smoothly, I hope. We had a little excitement here this morning because there was an earthquake that was centered about 60 miles from here. So a little after 10 o'clock this morning, we were shaking. We were shaking, which is always a little more excitement than I care for, but it's part of it. You live in California or some other places. California's not the only place that has earthquakes. That could happen. All right, so I'm talking, I'm not telling you, but you can see what I'm doing. So here's my piece. I brought my scoreboard back out. I'm going to fold these two pieces over like this and line it up over here. Make sure that we're square. So that this is touching the top and this is touching the side. And I want to put a score line at the 1/4 inch mark. And so if I look here, at my ruler, the 1/4 inch mark will be right here in this second groove from the left. So I don't want to start here and just run down this way because I'm going to hit the edge of my paper and I might tear it. So I'm going to locate that second groove and I'm going to come down here and then I'm going to lift my stylus and then get it back in that second groove and make my score line. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. So let's turn it around. Same thing, 1/4 inch mark. There's the groove. Set it right in here on top of the paper and make my score line. All right, goodbye, Mr. Scoreboard. Thank you. Okay, let's fold and burnish those two little score lines. No, it is springtime, and I know that for some people, I mean, we have earthquakes. Uh, and I know some of you have bad weather situations in the spring. I grew up in Oklahoma, so I'm very familiar with the tornado. We were in Tornado Alley. So, weather-wise, I don't know, it seems like spring can be an exciting time, maybe not in a good way. Right, here we are. This is what we've got now. I am going to grab my tear and tape because I want to tape down these two little flaps so they will be out of the way. And I'm gonna, oops, I'm gonna put my tape right here, right next to the score line, right there, and then just tear it off. My little metal ruler works really good, also for tearing. So here, I'll show you how I do that. If you have trouble tearing sometimes, this is a good way to do it. So again, I'm just going to put this down right next to that score line. And then you've got a little ruler like this. You can lay it down right where you want to tear and then just pull it up like that and it tears it really nicely. A nice straight tear. All right, let me just make sure that's pushed down. And now take your pick tool, peel that off, and then I'm just going to fold this back. And the tape is exposed just a little bit here. That's fine. You'll see that does not hurt anything. Same on this side, tear it, fold it over. There we go. Now we're going to go back to our paper snips and we're going to cut. So this square, this one, and this one. Let me get down so you can see what I'm doing. One, two, three, four. Those squares we're going to cut into thirds. So I am going to eyeball that, but I just want to show you that if you want to make little marks with a pencil, this piece right here is 1.5 inches. So you're going to make two cuts, one at a 1/2 inch. So you can do that, and one at 1 inch right there. So at a 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And then you're going to have three equal sections there. So you can certainly do that and mark it. But I will tell you that if you're close, you just want to eyeball it and you're close, reasonably close, that's good enough. It won't matter. So I'm just going to go after it here. Okay. What were you all up to this weekend? Do something fun? I think that kids are mostly done with spring break around here. So they're mostly back in school. Okay, there we go. We've got that. Now we need to put it together. And I love this. It's so easy. So I'm going to hold this. I'm going to start on this side. And I'm going to hold this up out of the way. I'm going to take just a little dot of glue. So one of the important things about this is you don't want to use a lot of glue because then your basket is really wet and it will take a long time for it to dry, and we don't want that. So this piece is going to come up here. Let me hold this up so you can see it. And I want it to go right here where this point, the point of that corner is right at the edge right here. So I think you can see that. The point of the corner is right at the edge. So I'm just going to press that for a second and let it take hold. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side and pull this one up. Same thing, that little corner right along the edge. And I'm just going to keep doing that back and forth until I get all of these in place. So now I think you can probably see where we're going. Maybe you already knew. A lot of glue. Whoops. See? Almost went to the wrong side. There we go. Right and then left and then right and then left. So hold that down a little bit. You can move pretty quickly as long as you're not using gobs and gobs of glue. And I will say, if you do happen to get some glue on your fingers are sticky, you want to clean that off so you're not sticky any longer. Because as you're trying to put this together, your fingers will keep sticking to the paper, and every time you lift your finger, the paper will lift with it. And your little basket will not want to stay together. Ask me how I know this. All right. Now let's do the other side. Same thing. So right now we're just going through all the mechanics. But then once we get it put together, we're going to put a little handle on it. Remember that little strip that I saved, the little strip of designer series paper? We'll use that for a handle. And then we get to get creative. and start decorating. So I've got a few ideas. We're going to do a couple of these baskets with a couple of different options. And then I have some that I've already made that I want to show you with some more ideas. I was having lots of fun with that this morning. On this basket, remember we started with a 5 by 5 piece of paper. I've made this basket before, but I used a 6 by 6 piece of paper. So the basket is slightly larger. And down in the description below this video, you might have to click see more. And you might have to click see more again. It'll make it easy for you to get to it. Oh, and I didn't cut this far enough, so it doesn't want to fold. So let me cut that all the way to the or line. There we are. Anyway, down in the description below the video. And as I said, you might have to click see more, and you might have to do that a couple of times to get to it. But down there in the description, I have a link to the other project, the one that is done with the 6 by 6 paper. Okay, here's our little strip. I'm just gonna very gently run this paper across the edge of my bone folder. I don't want to crease the paper, but I just want to make it where it wants to curl a little bit. That'll make it a lot easier to attach to my basket. So grab that glue again, another little dot of glue, and I'm gonna put this right here. This is gonna be covered up right here. You're not gonna see that when we're finished. And let's do the same over here. Another little dot of glue. And put this down here. And if you use just a tiny bit of glue, you don't have to hold it for very long. It really sticks together pretty good. Ta-da! Very cute. All right, let's talk about decorating. There a few different ideas for that. One of them is to use a stamp from the Storybook Friends. And I've got this stamp ready, this little bitty bunny. He's so cute. So let's stamp him. We'll stamp him right here on this piece of basic white. Inked up good. Oh, don't do that. Don't do it like that. That's what happens when I'm in a hurry. I didn't push it all the way down. That is much better. That is much better. Okay. So I want to get rid of this because I don't like looking at that. I don't want to be reminded of that. Okay. Uh, let's put a little tiny bit of pink on this little bunny. I've got the light Fleur de Flamingo Stampin' Blend, and I'm going to put just a little bit of pink right kind of into the base of his ear. And I'm just going to dot by his nose right there. You could color him in, you could do a lot more with that, but I'm just keeping it simple today. So now I need Let's move this out of the way. Now I need my mini cut and emboss machine because there are dies that coordinate with this stamp set. So I'll put this up here, put our little guy here, and got the die here. So I want to line that up, and I'm just going to use a little piece of Post-it note tape to hold it in place so it doesn't scoot around while I'm oops, running it through. There we go. Let's put the top plate on. There we go. It works better if you put it in straight. All right, here we go. We've got our cute little bunny. Peel that off. There it is. Super sweet. So adorable. I love that. Move this stuff out of the way for you. And I'm just going to adhere him right here where our little handle meets our basket. So that will take care of one side. You guys can chime in and tell me what you think. Scoot him around to get him right where I want him. So just as a reminder, this stamp set has all these cute little animals. Right? I think that's a hedgehog, and there's a bunny, squirrels, chipmunks, more bunnies. Super cute. And there's dies to cut out all of those. So you can really get carried away with your little animals on here. I have another, we're going to talk about animals again in just a minute. All right, so that takes care of one side. On the other side, I would like to put a little Easter greeting. So from that same stamp set, I'm going to use the Easter greetings stamp, and I think I will use this fresh freesia to stamp that. So I've got a scrap here. Let's stamp that on here. There we go. That will work. And I have a die for that as well. This is from it's something postage. Hold on. I want to tell you. I want to be able to tell you. Maybe I won't be able to tell you, but because I'm not sure where they are. They're not sitting here. But in the name of the dies is postage, and there's a whole bunch of dies in that die set. If you're wondering what it is, again, in the description below, there's a link to a place that's got measurements and a shopping list. So I know it's on there. You can find it there. All right, we need to die cut this out again. Let's see. Grab these plates. And just get this ready to go through. Find our die. Hi, Julie. Oh, so you're new to the Stampin' Squad. Welcome. I know I don't know if it's because it's spring or what, but there are tons of new people showing up, and that's fantastic. I love that. All right, let's put this on top. I'm gonna run this through. All right, I think that's gonna do it for die cutting today. We'll do something different when we do our second basket. So Julie, did you just find us here on Facebook? I mean on Facebook, on YouTube, or did you find us on Facebook or Instagram and then make your way over here? I was curious. I have been getting several comments on like all the platforms. People saying they're new, which is great. I I haven't said anything about it, but you can see what I'm doing. I just took that little reading and I'm going it to the opposite side where our little rabbit is. So there we are, like that. Super cute. And I've got some grass. So all I would do next is put some grass in there and a little bit of candy. And I'm not going to do that now because we are going to make another basket. Oh, you actually found on YouTube first. Well, cool. And then Facebook. Fabulous. Hi, Marlene. How are you doing? Okay, let's go ahead and make the second basket. And then I've got some here that are like all done up with the grass and the candy. And we'll look at those too and some different ideas for what to do to decorate. And you guys are probably already thinking of more ideas. So let us know in the chat what you're thinking of. All right, here's the other piece of the beautiful bokeh paper that I had pulled out for us to use today. And this is fresh freesia, which is a great spring color. Of course, I think fresh freesia is a great color all the time. It's one of my favorite. So we're cutting this at 5 inches. We want a 5 inch square piece of paper. This is 6 by 6. So we're going to cut off 1 inch on this side and then turn it this way and cut off an inch over here. Okay. So this gets set aside. That first piece that I cut off, I'm just putting back so it can go back with the rest of the paper. This one I'm going to cut in half lengthwise. We're going to use part of it. There we go. It's 1 inch wide. So I cut it in half. So I've got a 1/2 inch strip. This is 1/2 inch by 5. This goes back in the paper pack for another day. Okay. Goodbye, paper trimmer. Now, hello, scoreboard. Hello, scoreboard. I like this because it's just easy to remember. Easy to remember the scoring on this one. All right, we're going to take our piece of paper, put it up here, and we're going to score on all four sides at 1.5 inches. So we get to score 4 times here. Right, that away. And fold and burnish all these score lines. It seems like I have a lot of things to tell you today, and I don't know if told you all of them. I told you about the earthquake. That's the good news for today. And I told you about this project with the 6x6 paper. You can find the link in the description below. Those are two things I know I wanted to say. Now we're going to do a little bit of cutting. I'm just going to cut on this score line up to this one. Same thing right here on the score line, right up to that score line. Turn it over here, and on the opposite side, we're going to do the same thing. Once you've made one of these, they'll go really quickly. All right, there we are. Now we need to score just a little bit more. Two more score lines. So put this up here, fold those over so they're out of the way. I want to score this little flap right here at 1/2, not 1/2, at 1/4 inch. So I find that here, find the groove that I need to be in, and I'm going to bring it right down here, set this on top of my paper. And I'm going to use the other end. Here we go. And score that. And we're going to turn it over and do the other side, the same thing. Let's move these out of the way. Get this right up here in the corner. Find the correct groove at 1/4 of an inch and make a score line. Hey, we're going to get this done. Let's fold and burnish those. We just need to get a little bit of that middle section out of the way so our basket goes together nicely. Okay, now I am going to take these down. I want these to stick down. And I'm going to use my Tear tape. So I'm going to put a piece of tear tape right here next to the score line across here and tear it off. Same thing on this side. There we are. Does anybody else do this? I want to know. I saw someone do this one time, and because I always struggled with this, like trying to do this and put it where I wanted it to go, and it's falling over, and I'm dropping it, and it's sticking to things I don't want it to stick to. And I saw someone put their hand through it and just let their wrist hold it. And then you have both hands that you can guide it and stick it down. I thought that was brilliant. Does anyone else do that? Have you seen that before? Have you tried it? I think it works for me. Works really great for me, actually. All right, just peeling this backing off, and let's fold that down. And now, as I said before, the tape is peeking out right here. It's showing, it's exposed, but that's okay because that's all going to get covered up. So we're not worried about that. Okay, now a little cutting. Remember, we want to cut each one of these four flaps into three sections. And this is 1.5 inches wide. And so we want to make a cut at the 1/2 inch and at the 1 inch mark. And the last one I showed you with a ruler, how you could do that. And I'm not going to bother with making marks with my pencil. I'm just going for it. All right. And as I said before, as long as you're in the ballpark, right? And you end up with three pretty equal strips here, you're good. All right. You're good. And I'm going to make sure that I'm getting all the way up to this score line. So my project comes together nicely. Won't matter at all if you're not exactly three even sections. Okay, one more. How about that? Close enough. All right, this is what we've got now. So let's put it together. You hold this piece up here. I'm going to grab my glue and put a tiny drop of glue right here. Hold it over. And it's a little bit harder to see, I think, with this, the color of the paper. But the top, and I let go of it and it moved. The top corner of this is right even with the top edge of that folded down piece. So there it is right there. And if you don't use too much glue, you don't have to hold it long. Sticks pretty good. I am just going to keep doing this. I did the right side, the bottom section first, then the left. Now we're going to do the middle section on the right. Same thing. Bring it right down here so the corner is right here at the top edge. And comes together so nicely. I can't wait to show you the other ones I did and put the candy in. You may have heard me talk before about the fact that this is a new neighborhood that we live in. So it's all new construction. And we've been here since right before Halloween. But new people continue to move in, with new houses being built. And it's so fun meeting everybody. Several people have kiddos, which is fun. Lots of families. So I am going to be working on making some of these the next few days so I can go door knocking and handing out these cute little baskets to the kiddos. All right, now we're on the other side. We're going to do the same thing, starting with the right, putting that in there where the corner is right at the top edge. Now this one. Does anyone have Easter plans? Well, I'm trying to do the left before the right. Who caught that? Who told me to do that? I should pay attention. Okay, I've already got the glue over there, so let's put this one down. We are almost finished. Glue, and we'll put our little candle on. Just one more dot. There we go. Hold that for just a second. So I think the kids are going to like these. They're pretty fun. Pretty fun little baskets. All right, let me grab this strip that we had left over and my bone folder, and we're just going to run the paper between my thumb and the edge of my bone folder to get it to curl a little bit. That'll make it a lot easier to make it the handle. And so I'm not doing it hard enough to put a crease in my paper, but it does make it more pliable. So it'll be easier to attach. So just put a little dot here, attach the first end of it. So just another reminder that on the website, they've got all the last chance products in the section because, as you know, or maybe you don't know, our annual catalog is coming to a close. May 5th is the last day. You'll be able to order from the annual catalog. A few items are carrying over, but most are not. Most are not in the last chance. The same for the mini catalog that is in effect right now. It's going to end at the same time. So if you haven't jumped in there and checked for the last chance what's going away, you might want to do that. If you've had something on your wish list, you want to get it before it disappears. Right. And then I usually say this at the beginning and I didn't. So today I'll just put it here for a moment. That's my website. So hop on over to my website anytime. I've got lots of stuff over there. So there's a little bit about me. There's a link you can shop. There's a page called projects, and it's got tons of projects. This one will be on there as well. There's a shopping list for each project. So I've got lots of information over there for you. So feel free to pop over there. All right. So remember on this one, we stamped and then we die cut, and we stamped and we die cut. And that is super cute. So this one, let's do something different. Let's grab the, what's it called? Storybook Moments paper here. And the paper is gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous. I've used it on a few projects. But I wanted to remind you that in this paper pack, there are two sheets of die cut images. So all these cute little things are perforated. You just punch them out and then you can use them on your projects, your cards, or whatever. And so that's brilliant. Love that. We are going to use one of these little punched out animals in just a minute. One of the other pages in here, I wanted to show you. This one has got lots of bunnies on it, and some of the dies will cut out these bunnies. So besides the punch outs, you can use the dies like on this little guy. I think it's that one. This one, it would be that one. So there are several bunnies on there that you don't have to fussy cut, you can use the die to cut it out, which makes it easy. All right, so this is the little punched out animal that I want to use. This little duckling. Adorable. That's perfect for Easter, I think. Let's put a little glue on the back of this. And put our duckling on here. And hold that one in place for just a second. And then we want to put something on the back. On the one we did a minute ago, we did the Easter greetings. And this one, let's do something different. And I've already prepared these little flowers. I'll show you. I've got a bunch of them. You know, when I do something, I usually do it a lot. I don't ever make one of anything. Um, but I've got a whole pile of these little flowers. And, I just, when I was working on these projects, I just looked through my stash and I was like, what can I use? What would be cute to decorate these baskets? So I pulled out this old stamp set called Sweet Strawberry, and I used this two-step stamping to make these cute little flowers to stamp them. And then that stamp set came with a matching punch. And so the punch will punch out those flowers. So I stamped a bunch of flowers, I punched out a bunch of flowers, and then I've got my little stack of spring spring flowers. And so I think on this side, we should put a couple of these flowers. Let's just put one of each. So we'll glue these on. You could be very creative with this. You can just look through your stash, see what you've got, see what you want to use for decoration. And also, because Easter is this weekend and I'm doing Easter treats, I'm decorating them with an Easter theme, I would say. But these cute little baskets would be great for table favors or for Mother's Day or baby showers. I mean, they're great little baskets you could use for many different occasions. Oh, cute. It's just so cute. Adorable. All right. I just need some grass and some candy. I can finish those up. Now, let me show you some that I've already done. And I wanted to tell you, I got some of these little tiny bite size, maybe. I'm not sure what they call them. Snickers, and they're purple. And they're for Easter. So that's perfect. And then some little bitty Twix. Got those. And then I already had some of these foil Hershey's eggs that I used on a project a couple weeks ago. So I've got my candy stash. I started working on things, and let me show you. So here is a finished one that is all ready to go. So I've got my little basket. This is from the beautiful bokeh paper. I've got a bunny that I stamped and then die cut out. You can see the Easter greetings again that we did just a minute ago on the other project. And there's the candy in there. You can see it. On the back side of this one, I put one of those little flowers. And these bags I found on Amazon, and they are the exact right size. I wanted something that was gusseted that had a flat bottom, so this would sit nicely. And it actually has a little tiny piece of, like, kind of like cardstock, I guess, about like cardstock, that fits in the bottom. It keeps it flat. Very, very cute. So there's one. Here's another one. This is also from that same paper pack, this Berry Burst. It's so bright and pretty. This one I made some daisies for. So there's a daisy on the front and there's a daisy on the back. My candy is in there, my little green grass. You can't see the grass very much because the candy is covering it, but there's this one. And to do these daisies, again, I went looking in my stash and I found this daisy punch that I had. So I punched out some just basic white daisies. And then I have a little 1/2 inch circle punch. So I punched out the yellow to go in the middle. So I assembled those flowers. I used two punched out daisies and layered them. So my daisy has a lot of petals. And then after I put the yellow center on it, I grabbed my Wink of Stella and put some Wink of Stella on the center. So it's very bright. So those are fun. Let me show you a couple other things I did. Here's another one where used, so I haven't wrapped this one up yet, but I used one of the little punch out animals. It's another little duck, or maybe this is a goose. The duck was yellow. This might be a goose, huh? And then a little flower on the back. So that's super fun. Then here's another one that's ready for the candy. So still we're using paper from the beautiful bokeh and these beautiful butterflies. So these are dies with the beautiful butterflies bundle. Kind of hard to say, beautiful butterflies bundle. And so I used lemon lolly, balmy blue, and fresh freesia cardstock to make my butterflies. So that's a fun and different look. And I think the last one I wanted to show you is this one. And then again, it has the daisies, but I made this one with cardstock. So all the ones I showed you today and all the other examples I showed you, I used designer series paper, but you can make it with cardstock. That does work. If you prefer to have something that's a little sturdier. We've got that. We've got this one. This one. These are the ones we made today. Ah, they're stinking cute. They're just stinking cute. Can you imagine the table decorated with these? So fantastic. The candy's gonna fall out of this one, but that's okay. That one, the butterfly, and scoot these up a little bit. Then these that are already packaged up, ready to go. See if I can get everything in the frame here. That one, this one with the bunny. So it, as usual, I started with just the simple basket, right? A simple project, and then just start looking around and trying to figure out all the different things that I could do, right? Do with it, make it fun. So, yeah, yeah, I thought the baskets were fun. These would be great, just opens if you have them on like table favors or something like that. But because I am going to be carrying them through the neighborhood and giving them to people, I thought it would be better if they were sealed up. That way candy wouldn't be flying all over the place. And I've got something I wanted to remind you about. So these are fun. Also, 2 weeks ago, when I did my live, we made these little treat boxes. So these are super cute too. So you can find those. You just have to go back a couple weeks on my channel, and then they would be under the live tab because I did those as a Monday live as well. And I've got, I think it's four. It's either three or four of those little Hershey's foil wrapped eggs in there. And these are super cute and easy to do. So that's another idea for you if you're looking for little springtime treats, little Easter treats. But I think that's it. I think that's all I have for you today. Oh, I was going to show you. Here's the basket. Here's the bag that I got from Amazon. So great little bag. Can't believe that it is exactly the right size, but I guess Amazon has everything. All right. Again, come visit me on my website right there. You can find everything about me. You can find shopping, you can find projects, all the things, all the things. The annual catalog is going away May 4th. New catalog, May 5th. Hold on, let me just show you. Bum, 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 bum. Here's the new annual catalog. I can't show you inside yet, not allowed to do that, but I already got my pre-order. So if you're wondering what's in the annual catalog, there's also going to be new online exclusives the same time the catalog drops. Watch my unboxing. It's also in the live tab. Go look at what I got in my pre-order so you can get ready because there's lots of projects, new projects with new products coming. So see what I got and see the new ink colors and all the things. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to sign off. I've kept you guys long enough. We've been here almost an hour. So I really appreciate you stopping in today. If you're watching the replay, that's great. Thank you for doing that. And I hope that you'll come back next Monday at 4 o'clock Pacific time. If that works in your schedule, I'd love to see you here. All right. Have a great week, you guys. See you in a week. Bye bye.